Greetings, fellow Earthlings. This is Dave with the podcast And Another Thing with Dave. Thanks for tuning in. I'd like to give a shout out to our listeners from out the world. We've got people in the UK, Canada, Romania, Australia, Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, and many more countries. 49 countries listening. Thank you very much. This is going to be a multi-part series on conspiracy theories featuring Cutting Up, Paul, Ascension T, and Professor Moneypenny from the Stereo app. Stay tuned as we get into it.
Well, it looks like we got a couple of more messages from him. I'm just
I wanted to
curious.
answer his question, Cutting. Why are we talking about Trump? Because there are a lot of Trump supporters, and people want to talk about it. And this is a talk show. That's why we're talking about it.
If you don't like
Good
it, you
answer.
can leave.
Yeah, exercise democracy. Change the station if you're not down. Freedom of choice.
Well, hold on
We're still
one
talking about
second.
Hillary. We're still talking about Hillary.
Man, I gotta go take a shower.
And by the way, before people try to say whose side I'm on and what side I'm on, the whole American government is corrupt. It was born in corrupt.
Okay, I like that part.
Did I turn the message off?
Yeah, it probably just shut. He might have got a phone call. You know, you get a phone call, man, you get cut off like crazy.
You know what's been happening? There's been a glitch on stereo today where messages like that. I was on another show leaving messages and they would get cut off halfway. So I don't think it was him. We might want to play it again.
Go to play. You know how to do it, Cutting? Go to played and touch the last message again.
Hold on one second.
And by the way, before people try to say whose side I'm on and what side I'm on, the whole American government is corrupt. It was born in corrupt.
Yeah, that was the end of that message. So hold on. Let me just
I think
move on.
I think we know that. I think we know that.
Excuse me, my bad. My last message got cut off. But my point was the whole American government is corrupt. Democrat, Republican, Democrat. It really don't matter. It's all corrupt. Let's just face it. And if we're talking about Joe Biden, yeah, a lot of people say a lot of things about Joe Biden. Oh, he was friends with a racist, or he was friends with the Klansman. The man is 74 years old. Any white man that old either is a racist, knows a racist, related to a racist, or just fucking was friends with one. Let's just face the facts. Now, we really don't want to start pulling Donald Trump's cards now, do we?
Yeah, agreed.
Let's learn how to speak.
Just got yourself reported. Just got yourself reported. I don't want him once. I want him once. I'm done. And another thing about this white people hate. Let me say something on that. Hang on, Dave. It's going to be a quick ride. White people assisted by the hundreds of thousands to eliminate slavery. They died by the droves here. They assisted in the so anybody, if you don't know this by now, listen good. No man can choose the time, the place, or to whom he is born. You can hate on anybody for any reason just because you feel like it. So calling here and saying, well, if any white man that old is automatically racist or knows a racist, that's not true. You made it up. You got to stop spreading that kind of stuff because that's not true. You're starting to sound like one of the black Israelites.
Well, can I speak on that real quick?
Yes, sir. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I agree with you too, but I don't know. I think it was Chris Rock that said nobody's more racist than an old black man. And that was hilarious, right? It was a good joke, but his humor is so on point because it's like based in kind of a reality or something, right? But the difference there, though, is the old black man, he's got a reason to be full of hate and anger and resentment. The old white dude, he's just been brainwashed, right? So they're going to take your jobs, all these bullshit lies that go from, and it doesn't, like the finger will be pointed at the black community. They're going to take your jobs, or the Mexican, right? The other, always fear or be jealous of the other, right?
It's just more dog and pony. It's just more dog and pony.
And you know what it ultimately
You
is?
haven't.
It's created to get the working class fighting against each other so that we don't look up and see who's oppressing all of us. That's the real. Once again, there's a puppet master. There's who's writing the check, right? Always follow the money, right?
But you know what, Dave? Just the other day, I think Ascension might have heard this. I had some evil, nasty mouth black women. That's what they happen to be. Say some
Oh
things that
my
were so
gosh,
terrible.
terrible.
They were evil, nasty, filthy mouth. They said, and they were really, really, they were saying things that they
Jesus.
thought were contrary to racism. This is what one of them said. He said that only black people can make albinos. What?
What?
Yeah, that's like telling me only black people can. That just to give you an idea of the people who are here. I call them GED wannabes. If you don't read
Right.
well, don't get on stereo and try to teach. Have you ever heard
Yeah.
people get on here and try to preach and teach, and they're misspoken and stumbled? I mean, I'm not saying that you maybe you inherited that, but don't tell people that that's like telling me that only Down syndrome babies can be made by white people. That's not true. I mean, you need to travel a little more.
Jesus
Yeah. Oh my God.
Christ.
And
Say
basically everybody could do themselves a favor. And before you start a show talking about something, just Google it for a second, right? Just Google it
Yes.
before you
Yes.
speak.
Well,
not
I'm
that everything
just.
in Google is true, but man, these people are just
No.
that's
Yeah.
such a waste of time. If I'm wrong about something, tell me. I'll figure it out. I won't do that again. But
Right.
don't get on here and say that. I said, listen. And next thing you know, she was cursing me out and calling me all kinds of things, calling me a
Oh, of
house
course.
in and all that. Yeah. I said, listen, you can solve this problem in 10 seconds or less from any cell phone. Why don't you just Google white, what's the word we were looking for? Albinos. There's thousands of them, hundreds of them all over the world. That's just not true. So then she
Right.
tried to say, well, an albino is a white person. Oh my God. What do you
What?
say? Yeah, man, there are people here
The
who are
skin condition.
there are people here who are
Skin condition.
miseducated and they're I've said this before, Ascension, they're over invested in their sexuality and under invested in their education. And there's no
Yep.
talking to
Dang.
them. They've passed puberty
Ouch.
and they just
That
don't want to
hurts, but it's
learn
true.
anything. And you're going to see that here where people can't be, they just can't be reasoned with. If you believe this that the world is flat, that's another conversation that's just impossible to get into. And I have to go all the way back to Copernicus and Galileo and the shadows from one planet to the next, and it's just a waste of time. If you really want to believe that there is a conspiracy and that the Earth is flat, then I can't talk to you about anything because
Yeah.
you need to go back to school and you need to look up. Have you ever been in a
Dang.
plane at 44,000 feet? You can
Thank
see
you.
the Earth's surface. Oh, there's
I
something
was.
with the window. It's a trick with the window. Okay,
No, it's
okay,
not.
okay.
You can go in a hot air balloon and you see the same thing. So it's not the
Yeah,
window.
I
So there
just,
you
I,
go.
you know,
Yep. If
everybody
you've
hasn't
ever
been in
been
a plane.
skydiving, you can see when you first jump out the plane, you can see the curvature, and there is no window because you're falling out. You're falling through the freaking air.
Well, granted that most people don't jump above 13,000 feet because they need oxygen. But for those of us who have been to 30,000 feet and jump, you
Ooh.
most definitely can see it. It's called halo
Oh
jumping.
my. Oh
Yeah,
my Lord.
yeah. Well, that's halo
I
jumping.
would love. I
It's
would
very,
love
very
to see
cold,
that. Wow.
and if you can control your breathing, you don't need oxygen.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
you hyperventilate before you
Wow.
get out. You'd rather carry weapons and equipment rather than oxygen is heavy, man. You know,
Sure. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Priorities. Right.
and you're taught to drop the oxygen before you land to reduce your velocity. But it's just a whole lot of things that you can do. But people say, "Oh, if you say something, you sound smart. Oh, you must be a house in. Oh, the more educated." Somebody told me the more educated you are, the more indoctrinated you are. What?
Wow. No,
They say, "Well,
education cuts
technology is evil." Okay, well then put your cell phone down.
education cuts the chains of indoctrination, right? Because you like
No, I
one of
just
the